Do you want to add a touchscreen radio to your vehicle, but don't have a doubled-in opening? You want features like Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and want to add a backup camera, but those radios won't fit into your dash? Well, Pioneer has a solution for you with the AVH-3500NEX. This is a single DIN pop-up 7-inch monitor that has all those features and more. So if you've been wanting to add a modern radio to your early model vehicle, then stay with us as we take a look at what Pioneer has to offer. Hey, what's up? This is Josh from Breakers Stereo and Performance. Welcome to the YouTube channel that reviews, demos, and goes over the latest in aftermarket auto accessories like car audio, performance, suspension, and more. Because we don't drive stock. And if you're like us, where stock just doesn't cut it, then join the Breakers Upgrade Nation and subscribe to this channel. Okay, do it now. For many years, cars came with what we now call single DIN openings for the radio. And in the mid to late 1990s, companies like Alpine, Pioneer, and Kenwood made radios with LED screens that popped out of the dash. And as you can imagine, they were extremely expensive. Around $1,500. Now this was well before flat screen TVs and smartphones pushed LCD screen prices down. And as cars became more modern, they enlarged the radios to double that size, hence double DIN. And most cars from about 2000 and up came with this larger opening. And when that happened, car stereo companies moved to the double DIN LED format instead of the pop-out LED format. But most companies still kept a single DIN pop-out in the lineup for many years after the popular double DIN styles came out. Now only one name brand company still manufactures the single DIN pop-out, and that of course is Pioneer. So those of you that have still hung on to your car that you loved for many years where a double DIN radio is not possible, thank Pioneer for still making something modern for your car. As a side note, there are some floating panel radios that are single DIN chassis that could be an option as well. Now in this video, we'll be going over all the important features this radio has to offer. Do an unboxing, turn it on for a demonstration, and finally we'll go over the pros and cons list along with our overall rating. But before we do that, we want to remind you to visit our website at breakersstereoandperformance.com for all your car stereo and automotive upgrade needs. Financing is available, so you can get what you want now and make low, easy monthly payments. Okay, let's go over the features on this radio. This is an AM/FM CD/DVD receiver, 7-inch LCD motorized fold-out screen, Bluetooth hands-free calling and audio streaming, 5 display colors, and 112 key color options. Now make note, this is wired Apple CarPlay and wired Android Auto. You will have access to WebLink so you can display YouTube from iPhones and Androids. Audio, video content from CDs, DVDs, and also USB memory devices. Plays high-res FLAC audio files up to 192 kHz/24-bit. 13-band graphic equalizer, high and low pass filters, and it does have a feature called Auto EQ that equalizes from your car's interior automatically, but you will need to purchase a mic in order for that feature to work. Expandability includes Sirius XM tuner compatible, tuner sold separately, compatible with factory steering wheel audio controls, adapter required. Inputs include a rear USB port, rear audio video input to the mini jack, and a rear view camera input. Your pre-out outputs are 6-channel, 4-volt, front, rear, and sub. And the built-in amp is 14 watts RMS, 50 watts peak. And this does come with a wireless remote control. Okay, let's do the unboxing. All right, let's check this out. All right, so we have our Bluetooth mic, the wireless remote control, USB extension, main harness, and then hardware screws. Okay, we have a quick start guide here, installation instructions, and then this is the radio. This thing is extremely heavy. So there's a lot of parts in there, compacted into this single DIN chassis. Keep in mind, this does have a CD/DVD, okay? So that's why it's definitely a lot deeper than some of the shallow mount radios that we are normally reviewing. Okay, so you don't necessarily have to have the screen up all the time in order to use it. You do have a volume knob here. There are some buttons here on the bottom as well. All right, so we'll open this thing up during the demo and you'll be able to take a look at that. On the back side of it though, starting from the left to the right, this is your USB input. This cable is for your Sirius XM tuner input. The yellow here on the bottom, that is for Pioneer's navigation. So they do sell a separate navigation and you can plug that directly into here. This is the input for the Bluetooth microphone. This is the input for the wired remote for your steering wheel control adapter. Front, rear, and sub RCA pre-outs. You also have video inputs. There is a rear monitor output as well. So if you're hooking up a monitor in the rear for rear entertainment, you have that as well. That's nice. And then you have your 3.5mm auxiliary input, your main harness input, and of course your AM/FM antenna input. Okay, so this is our main screen. As you can see here, we have some sources on the side. On the left, you have Apple CarPlay, because that's hooked up. If it was Android Auto, obviously it'd be Android Auto. Okay, so let's just go into a couple things here. There's your radio. Now, if you hit the down button, this will also give you sources you can choose from as well. So if I wanted to go to Bluetooth audio, I can do that, so on and so forth. Okay, so let's go ahead and exit out of here and we'll go into the settings. This is your favorites list. So what you can do if you wanted to register a favorite, let's say you wanted to get to your camera settings, fairly easy. You would just hit the star here and that would take it to your favorites settings. This is the same software they use in all the NEX double-din radios. So if you're familiar with how the NEX software works, it's identical. But we will go over it briefly so you can get an idea of how it works if you're not familiar. In your system settings, you have your AV source settings here, radio settings, Sirius settings, Bluetooth audio on or off, Spotify on or off. You have your beep tone on or off, audio mix on or off, inputs and output settings. So here you can set the USB, AV input, and the aux input, all on or off. Your camera settings are here. So your backup camera input, if you have a backup camera, you will need to turn that on. And then you could also select the camera polarity, either battery or ground. Parking assist guides on or off. And then you can also adjust those lines as well. Okay, next, demo mode on or off, language, auto flap on or off. And then you have touch panel calibration, which is nice. So here you're able to calibrate the touch panel according to how you would touch the screen. Okay, you have dimmer settings, driver position, and then Android auto launch, picture adjustment. Okay, so we can adjust the brightness, contrast, dimmer from there. And then the system information. This is going to give you your firmware information to let you know what firmware is currently on your radio. And if you wanted to do a firmware update, that's where this is done as well. Okay, next, background. So on the background, you do have some preloaded pictures here, so you can pick whichever you like. There's also the option to upload your own. Now there is, as you can see, a 3D feature where it's moving along. So you have live wallpapers is what they call it. So that one's pretty cool, so I'll leave that. Then you have your illumination. So from here you can choose which color you want on the screen and also on the buttons. Okay, your theme. All right, so you got a couple different themes you can choose from. Also different clocks you can choose from. All right, and then you have your clock settings. I won't go over that. And then you have your home custom settings. So here you're able to move these widgets around if you like. So if you just touch this here, this will move those around. So you got just a couple options, it looks like, not a whole lot. Okay, next going on to sound or audio. You have your equalizer, you can choose. There's a couple different settings. Okay, so here's our graphic EQ. You have a couple presets on the bottom here. You could also customize this as well. So simply grab one of these bands and move it up and down, just like so. You can also run your finger across it as well. That's a nice feature. Okay, next, balance and fade, attenuation, subwoofer level on or off, speaker level, so you're able to adjust the gain on each corner here and also the subwoofer level as well. You have your crossovers here. All right, so right now I'm set to subwoofer. Right now you can see the crossover frequency cutoff is 100. I can move it from as low as 25 to as high as 250. So let's say we set it at 80, and we could also pick the slope. So we have a really wide range here. You have as low as 6, you have 12, 18, 30, 24, 30, and 36. So you can really adjust the steepness of that slope. You also have your front. We have to turn it on. Pick your crossover points. They're probably going to be very similar. So you have as low as 25, as high as 250, And on this, we only have 6 dB slope, 12 dB slope, 18 dB slope, 24 dB slope. So it doesn't go into the 30s. And the rear is going to be exactly the same. Listening position, either front left, front right, or all, just off. Then you also have time alignment as well. So here you're able to measure the distance between the center speaker, and let's say, in most cases, the driver front headrest. Okay, there's that auto EQ that we talked about earlier. You do need the part in order for that to work. Then you have bass boost, loudness, and then auto level, and so forth. Okay, so let's go to the video setup. You have a DVD setup here. All right, video signal, AV, aux, and camera signals. And then moving on to Bluetooth, you have your connections here, auto connections, visibility on or off. You can set the pin code if you like, and then this is the device information. Here's a nice feature. If you're listening to the radio or any other source, there's always going to be an EQ button here. And if you tap that, that takes you directly to the EQ. That way you don't have to go into the system settings under audio and then EQ. So that's a shortcut. Let's take a look at Apple CarPlay. All right, so this is our Apple CarPlay here. We have our applications. All right, so our main applications are going to be your music applications, your navigation applications, okay, and then your phone calling applications. For music applications, we have Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, and then for navigation, we have Waze, we have Google Maps, and then you also have your Apple Maps as well. So here you're able to tap into your text messaging and it will read back to you the messages that you want, and you can actually respond to it as well. Okay, so this is our Android Auto here. Let's tap the button. That will take us to our main menu for Android Auto. And then we have applications like mapping and music from here as well. Now, if you ever wanted to go back to the main screen, then you would just tap here and that would take you to the Pioneer main screen. And this does have a DVD drive as well. So if you wanted to play DVDs through this, you're able to do that. It does have a video output. You can stream that back to the screen in the rear. So on those long trips, you can keep the kids in the back entertained. Okay, that'll do it for the demo. Pros and cons, starting with the pros. 4-volt pre-outs. High-res audio, 192 kilohertz / 24-bit. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Audio video input. And of course, the flip-out design for those older model vehicles. Cons. No HDMI input, but you can use an HDMI to composite converter and plug it into the AV input. And some of you might be thinking iData-Link, but it's not likely anyone will be putting this into a newer vehicle that has CAN lines to communicate with vehicle data. So we'll leave that one off. And the price is much higher than the double DIN with the same features, but keep in mind there are more moving parts here. And since the demand for this type of radio is low, they don't make a lot of these, so that will drive up manufacturing costs. I'm gonna give this radio a 4.5 stars. If it had the HDMI input and wireless Android Auto and wireless CarPlay, we would definitely have given it a 5-star. Nevertheless, if you have a car where a double DIN will not fit, this is a great choice to give you all the modern features you're looking for in a good car stereo. To purchase this radio, we have left a link in the description below. Remember about our financing. Simply add to cart, pick a financing option, get approved, and we'll send your radio out to you ASAP. Make sure to like this video and join the Breakers Upgrade Nation by subscribing to this channel. Again, I'm Josh from Breaker Stereo and Performance. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next video.